Yes.
You've never shown me these, or I've never come in to see them, is that right?
Correct.
Have you ever provided me that doc report?
No, I have not.
Okay. So, do you know who Troy Teskey is?
No, I do not.
I think we took some testimony from you yesterday that he is the friend of Thel Reed.
I believe that was stated, but I did not know that information.
Okay, so let me ask it this way. If Troy Teskey, who provided this ammunition, is a friend of Hannah Gutierrez's dad, and if these bullets...
I'd ask the prosecutor not to be touching those with her bare hands.
They rolled around for 3 years. Okay. If these bullets match the ones that were on the set of Rust, is that evidence, additional evidence, that Hannah Gutierrez provided the live ammunition to the set of Rust?
Yes.
And has she been convicted for that?
Yes.
Is this evidence that Seth Kinney provided live ammunition to the set of Rust?
No.
So let me ask you, Ms. Popple, if you buried it, how did the defense attorneys know to cross-examine you on it yesterday?
I do not know.
Do you have any idea when the defense attorneys learned about this ammunition?
No, I do not.
Do you know who they learned it from?
No.
Those are some important inquiries. Those are all the questions I have for Ms. Popple, but we'd like to take additional testimony.
All right. I thought I had one more question.
Oh, and I'm sorry. Would it refresh your memory about whether or not you're supposed to write a report within 24 hours if you...
I don't think that was in dispute. I think he...
All right.
All right. Right? Never mind. Okay. So you're off the witness stand. We're going to... Do we want to leave these out, or do we want to gather them up?
I think they need to be vouchered and kept. Obviously.
Well, okay. Well, so it'll be Court's Exhibit 12. Is that how you want to do it?
Yes, I think it should be a court exhibit since this is a hearing. Yes.
Okay, Court's 12. And my only question is, do you want them back in the... do you plan to examine anybody with these?
They have to be at the courthouse so that we can. Yes.
Well, she divided them all up is my only point. So is she going to keep coming back and dividing them up, or what are we going to do?
I think yesterday there was some testimony that I think was frankly just misleading, that none of the...
No, this is my question.
Yes.
You all, okay. What do you want to do with that? Because if you're asking a witness, then we're going to have to pile them out of there, and somebody's going to have to line them up and identify what's this, what's this, what's this. Okay? So do you want them staying out like this, or do you want them in the bag? That's all. That's my question for the day.
I think they should remain vouchered, and they are open like any voucher would be at a trial, when and if a witness is questioned about them.
Okay, so here's my question. If I put them back in the bag, they're all going to be commingled, and you may not recognize them, so you can cross-examine appropriately or examine appropriately. Okay? You're lay people. You have knowledge. I don't need to go into it. That's my only question. Want it in the bag, or do you want it out?
So what I would ask is let us quickly just photograph it.
Okay, I do like how Judge Summer is pretty quick to make decisions. She seems to have control of things, and it's out of control at the moment. So no better way to find out what is happening than to talk to our very own Anjanette Levy. She is on the ground in Santa Fe. Anjanette, not much going on today, just pretty much a day as usual in court. As I used to say, a surprise a day. Did it seem in the courtroom that this motion for mistrial and all of these extraneous issues were a surprise to anybody?
I think we were all surprised. We knew that this motion was going to relate to the bullets, the 4 rounds that were brought in by this gentleman, Teskey, who was a friend of Thel Reed, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's father. Those rounds were brought into the sheriff's office after Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's conviction. And this gentleman, he's a retired police officer. He thought maybe they were related to the Rust investigation. As you heard during that motion hearing, Marissa Popple, the crime scene technician, said that she was told to put them under another case number, and that when her lieutenant wrote something to the effect of, these are not related to the Rust investigation. The defense says we never got this, and the state doesn't get to determine what is exculpatory and what is not, according to the case law. So we're all like, what? We thought maybe, we didn't know they were going to be making a motion to dismiss based on this. We thought maybe it was just related to introducing them or something like that. So this came as quite a shock. That motion was not posted on the court website until after everybody arrived this morning. So we're all sitting in court like, wow, these are things we've not seen before. I've seen judges come off the bench for some things. I've never seen a judge sitting here saying, get me the box of evidence, get me the bullets, get me Popple. I want to hear from Popple, cutting open the evidence envelope. We're all sitting there watching this. Like, what is going on? She's putting on gloves. She's coming down off the bench. Alex Spiro's putting on gloves. They're looking at the rounds. The judge is questioning Marissa Popple. I mean, it was all so wild to me. I've seen a lot of things over the years. Michael Bryant, I know you've seen a lot of things in your time too.
I did. Luckily,
I've never quite seen something like this.
I'm glad I brought my gloves because I wasn't sure. Maybe it might become necessary. Yeah, I've never.
Are you feeling left out? Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite like this either, and I'm not sure to what end. I mean, her little bit of examination on her own. I'm not sure really how that propelled this forward. But let's talk about the fact that the jury's been dismissed. So what are you hearing about how that unfolded and what the judge expects to do the rest of the day?
Well, the judge wanted to keep this thing going. She's got this tight schedule. She wants to keep this hearing, or she wants to get this trial over by next Friday. I don't see that happening, but I'm not the judge. I don't see how this finishes by next Friday if the case continues and she doesn't toss it out, because that's what they're asking for. They're not asking for a mistrial. They are saying, the defense is saying, you have given the state enough chances. They've messed up, a lot, and you've given several remedies. Now you just got to toss the case because they don't get to decide what's exculpatory, and we didn't get this evidence. So what is going to happen is this motion hearing is going to continue. And so we'll hear likely from Seth Kenney, possibly Alexandria Hancock, the lead detective, and then maybe even Jason Bowles, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's attorney. We may be hearing from him on the stand. Kerry Morrissey's like, I'm calling him to testify. So he might be on his way here to the courthouse from Albuquerque. We'll just have to wait and see. But that motion hearing is continuing. The jury will return on Monday morning at 8:30. The judge doesn't know what she's going to do yet. She has a big decision to make. And she was kind of nodding her head in agreement at times with the defense, which I found very interesting. Also, I want to let you know, Michael, after the judge dismissed everyone, Alec Baldwin and his wife and his family were walking out of the courtroom, and Halyna Baldwin had a pretty big grin on her face. So she seemed pleased. And then I saw Alec Baldwin and his sister and brother kind of huddled down by the restrooms by a window, and it appeared he was kind of trying to explain to them. I mean, I saw them from a distance, but it looked like he's talking to them and maybe explaining what was going on, because they're not in the weeds in this. They're family members, so that's what I observed.
I mean, we can see more animatedly than usual the defendant, so he's excited about what seems to be transpiring. And if you bring a motion to dismiss in the midst of a trial, it's effectively a mistrial. It's not a pretrial proceeding. So tell me this: there's also some rumblings about the prosecutor Morrissey hand signaling to witnesses to help them kind of maybe answer questions. Did you get any sense of that from inside the courtroom?
Yeah, I didn't. I kind of did not pick up on that. So that was an allegation that was made. I didn't see that. I didn't kind of pick up on that. So I don't really know what to say about that at this point in time. But if that is actually happening, if she is indeed signaling to people, that's not cool. I mean, I don't think that should be going on if that is indeed happening.
Let me ask you this, because it relates to this question. The judge has asked for a very specific procedure to discuss objections. And we know speaking objections are very straightforward. Objection, hearsay. That's not a speaking objection. That's legit. But if you say objection, hearsay, because what he said to him doesn't really, that is a speaking objection. So she is calling for these sidebars anytime it strays beyond just stating the grounds for the objection. And it seems to get a little clunky.
Sure.
Do you sense that the jury is a little, annoyed by the stop-start of that process?
I think that they've seemed a little bit frustrated at times, but this is also a jury. We have a lot of older people on this jury. Maybe they are understanding that maybe things are going on that they can't be privy to. Not everybody on the jury is older, but we do have an older jury here. A lot of the people appear to be at least in their 50s and 60s, maybe even 70s. And we do have some younger people too. But they seem to be paying a really close attention, and they're taking a lot of notes. But yesterday there seemed to be a lot of sidebars. And I think that really can interrupt the flow of things, and you might kind of lose them at points, but they are paying very close attention.
Oh, that's good. I mean, obviously the first week, and they're, let's face it, a little starstruck. There he is. There's Alec Baldwin. But yeah, that stop and start, it's annoying to be honest, for the attorneys, for everybody in the courtroom, and most importantly, for the jury. Okay, so Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, the star witness, no, she's not going to be the star witness. What do you know about the back and forth behind the scenes on that deal?
I don't know if there is anything going on behind the scenes. I was kind of wondering, is there something being hammered out behind the scenes to get her out of prison? That was my thought. Now I'm thinking maybe that is not what is going on. I'm getting indications from her lawyer that she's going to plead the fifth. So why even call her? She's not going to cooperate. And then we were kind of talking amongst ourselves earlier, Rich Schoenstein and my producer, Misty, right? And a bunch of us were discussing this, that maybe that if she pleads the fifth, it makes her an unavailable witness. There was a motion hearing a few weeks ago in which this was discussed, and the state wanted to grant her to be granted immunity. And the judge says, I'm not granting her immunity. She's already indicated she's not cooperating with you. So I'm not doing it. So she's going to be an unavailable witness. You need to prepare accordingly. So is this part of the process where she would plead the fifth and then become unavailable, and then maybe they can get some of her statements in? We're still kind of going over those exceptions to the hearsay rule here in New Mexico to see whether or not that's a possibility. But I have talked to one defense attorney here in New Mexico who said, yeah, they could try to get some of her statements in that way.
Yeah, every state is very different in what they determine to be unavailable. So that drama within the drama continues to play out. So thank you for that update, and Jeanette, and for keeping an eye on this thing. I think you're going to be busy today, even though the jury has the rest of the day off. So thanks for checking in. We will hear more from you as this develops, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
You bet. Okay, let's take a break here. We'll get back into that hearing. Again, it is a motion for dismissal in the middle of a trial. Right after this, we'll be back.